Thank you for listening to this podcast from TRE, Talk Radio Europe, your voice in Spain and around the world. For more information, please visit TRE.radio.
TRE in the afternoon. Presented by Hannah Murray.
Good afternoon. You are listening to Men Talk with me in the studio today, Mark Wilkins, Steve Holmes and Luis Gonzalez. Hello.
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 Hi.
Hello.
Thank you all for coming in. If you're listening at home and you'd like to get involved, you are more than welcome. Here's how.
To contact TRE, please call 952 78 4000. Email studio@tre.radio. Send us a WhatsApp on +34 645 99 67 95.
What a beautiful day, it's a wonderful life.
Okay, so there's an article here that I know Dave and Mary Carmen were talking about on The Breakfast Show with much hilarity. There's the idea of when you go on holiday, what kind of things would you like to take with you, or do you take with you? This is very much talking about British people. There are top 20 essentials that people said they would pack in their suitcase. So starting from number 1, tea bags, slippers, coffee, antibacterial spray, your pillow, a travel kettle, tins of beans, orange squash, salt and pepper, a hot water bottle, your favourite tipple, cutlery, your childhood teddy, kitchen utensils, favourite mug, air freshener, tinned soup, condiments, a water filter jug and toilet seat covers. Well, I can honestly say, unless I'm going camping, where cutlery would come into it, I don't think I've ever considered taking one of those items with me on holiday.
Do you know, the extraordinary thing is now, if you've been to EasyJet, Ryanair, there are other flight services available, but have you seen the price of how much it is to put your suitcase on the plane, let alone in the cabin?
Crazy.
It's so crazy. Why would you fill it with things that you can buy locally wherever you go?
Yeah.
The idea of, if you're coming to Spain, and we'd obviously encourage everybody to come to Spain because it is the most amazing place in the world, but don't bring tea bags, because you can go to your local shop, let's call it Mercadona for the sake of convenience, and you can buy your packet of PG Tips very easily. Whether you choose to use the water or not, you can use a bottled water, then that's your call, because there's absolutely nothing wrong with the tap water.
It's strange, isn't it? I'm interested, Luis, as a Spanish person, if you were going abroad to a different country, are there any home comforts that you would want to take with you?
Yeah, well, when I travel, because I traveled a lot when I was a little young, because I'm half Mexican, half Spaniard, so I travel a lot to the America and coming back, and I never worry about that. I just only worry about the clothes and everything, because I know where I'm going. I'm able to get the things I need, or my family is going to be able to get the things they need, as you said. So when I travel right now with my girlfriend or alone or wherever, I must worry about the clean clothes and if I'm going to, it depends on the destination.
Yeah.
If I'm going to walk a lot, I bring my shoes and boots and whatever.
Yeah.
If I'm going camping or something like that, but something like utilitarian, something from nothing like comfort, because I know that traveling is not about, unless you are in holidays like in resort.
Yeah,
in a
exactly.
hotel, it's not about comfort, it's about experience.
Yeah.
So
I'm always interested to see the different types of pillows that one gets in a hotel or
Do you know
an
the
B&B?
Premier Inn in the UK, as you finish your booking, they then, there's a pop-up that comes up on the screen that says you can now buy the Premier Inn pillows, mattress cover, mattress protector. And, you know, of course, you might do. I was thinking the only thing that we might have done historically when our kids were little, and you may be feeding them formula or something like that, you might bring that with you, because changing formula, unless you wanted to cover yourself in child, then generally that was, you know, not a good idea. So you'd bring that with you, and that's always quite heavy in little packs.
No, that makes sense.
I think it's years ago, going to Spain, self-catering, 3 young kids, no airport scanners and all that sort of stuff wasn't in place then. Smoking on an aeroplane, all that was in place. Packing the bacon was normal.
Yeah.
The Spanish bacon is not great.
It's delicious.
So, and you're feeding 3 kids, and you're living in an apartment that needs a good clean when you get there, that sort of stuff. So I think that article is probably, years ago it was true, but certainly not now.
No.
I mean, you can buy your Yorkshire tea bags or your PG tips anywhere you want in Spain, so it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
It has to be said, reading that article, it does sound like it was written in the 1950s. I don't think, are people that...
Yeah, when I heard the list you come about, it's like I was thinking of myself, this is very British, like the what is the name, the sesgos, or the conception, the conception we have of British people that bring in the beans, the tin of beans.
It's really stereotypically embarrassing.
It's really.
But I can't believe that people would go on holiday to anywhere. Let's say you were going on a Caribbean cruise, or wherever you were going, that you would pack a tin of beans. I mean, really, do people do that? Are people that obsessed with needing?
Well, it depends on the philosophy of your travel. I think if you're going to experience another culture, another environment, what is the point to bring things on from your hometown? It's not the point.
Definitely.
I think everybody needs beans on toast now and again.
True. But I mean, a lot of these things I can equate to taking with me if I was going camping. If you're going camping, you would take a pillow, you would take a kettle, you would take salt and pepper, you would take cutlery. There's so many of these things that you would take if you were going camping and you were cooking for yourself.
Maybe they did the poll in camping sites.
Maybe. Yes, makes a big difference.
Do you have many listeners in the UK?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
it's the second most
we better
country
not be rude.
No. Well, we're all from, but we're not Lewis, but we're from the UK.
Yeah.
We can handle it. There's an article about lying. It says why we should all lie more often. Apparently, it's something that we all do, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. Fibbing can make us all feel better. And this is the interesting thing. What is the difference between a fib and a lie? The article talks about lots of different kind of experiences when this can happen. If you say to someone, I'm sorry I'm late, I was stuck in traffic, is kind of kinder than I don't find you important enough to prioritise, I leave on time, which obviously makes sense. So I don't know how you decide what the difference is between a fib or a white lie and a lie, because nobody would want to be called a liar. To say to someone you're a liar or that was a lie is a really strong, offensive statement, and nobody would kind of hold their hand up and go, yeah, I lie a lot, I'm a bit of a liar. You'd be offended by it. But if you kind of change it to fibbing or white lies, this woman in the article is saying that we do it a lot.
I would say lying is probably deceit, whereas a fib is more just an easy way to get out of something, without being rude or difficult or whatever. But I think a lie is more deceitful.
Which isn't a nice thing. It's more
So in the lie side of the camp, we've got Brexit, we've got Father Christmas. What else have we got?
Don't.
Oh, sorry, not Father Christmas.
Not Father Christmas. I love Father Christmas.
The Easter Bunny. Then let's pick on him. I think the truth is that, and am I telling the truth at the moment?
Well, I hope so.
I think the truth is that we probably all are a little expedient with some of the things we say and the way we say them, partly to not offend people, which is actually quite a good thing, because that kind of makes the world go round. Because if you do set out to offend people, that is not necessarily quite a good, a sound policy. And partly to escape where you otherwise might be responsible. And there can be simple things like I'm not fond, I'll be honest, I'm not fond of cleaning the oven.
Okay, fair enough.
Right?
Yeah.
So if I'm late home in traffic and I know the oven's being cleaned, it might be the good excuse.
Yes.
Well, you just said, the thing to say is to be honest. Are you being honest when you say to be honest?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Yeah.
Could I lie to you?
Baby.
There's a TV show based on that, isn't there?
Yeah,
Where
exactly,
the
which
whole-
is so good.
Yeah.
I think it's a brilliant concept. It works so well.
And what's so extraordinary, and I'm sure that we could all probably do it, is that you can adopt a straight face when you tell a complete lie, which is totally gullible and totally understandable, and people would fall for it. And it's exactly that happens on that show the whole time, is
Yeah.
that people who come with the most outrageous things, which happen to be true, and then people go to equally outrageous things that are complete lies.
Yeah.
Which is, well...
I think sometimes, because we talk about the importance of truth and telling the truth, and we raise children in the importance of telling the truth and honesty, and I think they're really good things to have, obviously, but it totally depends on the situation. I think so. Let's use an example as someone coming on this show. If I said to someone, "Oh, are you able to come on Men Talk, for example?" and they consistently said, "Oh no, I can't make it this week," and that happened every time I asked them, and they never came on the show because every time I asked them, they said, "Oh no, I can't make it this week," and the reality was that they never wanted to do it. They wouldn't like to speak on the radio. It's not their thing. Why waste each other's time by saying, "Oh no, I can't make it this week"? Just say, "Oh, thanks so much for asking, but it's really not my thing."
Yeah,
in
but-
which case you go, "Oh, okay, no worries, no problem
But
at
the
all."
piece you read out suggested that lying was a good thing for us and we should do it more often.
Yeah, and I'm just saying I don't think that's
I'm not
always
sure
the
that's...
case.
No, I'm not sure that's right.
It depends. I think it depends. Well, I think lying, telling good lies in quotes, good lies,
Yeah.
is a social skill you have to learn. Because, for example, I'm thinking about my nephew. Right now he's 6-year-old, and I'm asking him to help me to gather around some of the stuff or cleaning or something. I ask him, "Oh, help me clean this," or help me do that stuff, and he started making excuses like, I can't, my tummy itch, or I'm really tired or whatever. And I said to him, like, don't lie to me and just tell me that you don't want to. I'm not going to be offended. I prefer you being honest and tell me that you don't want to help me around. And that's it. It's all right. So he hasn't got that lying skill. I think it's a social skill you have to.
Absolutely.
So he's not good enough in telling lies right now. He's figuring it out. So I think this depends on the situation, as you said. But the bad things about lying is that you get caught lying.
Exactly.
That's the thing. Because I get lied to also, but I don't get. I know when people is lying to me, more or less. I think I'm really good at it. But the thing I don't like to is like if it's a big enough lie. I don't know if I'm explaining myself. It's like that's the example. I don't want to come over on time. I don't want to be. Prioritize. I don't want to prioritize you enough and stuff. If you make an excuse like I stuck in traffic, I know you are lying and I don't care.
Yeah,
so,
exactly, and not offending anybody.
Exactly, it's like we both know that it's a lie.
Yeah,
but it's better to
don't care.
Yeah, it's better to go further, because if I tell you, you're lying to me, you don't prioritize me, you are going to rumble again and in a big trouble or big discussion with that person. It's like it's not worth it. I know you're lying to me. I know it's a lie, but it's not worth it. Let's get to it.
A lot of the time when you are telling a little lie like that, it is so as not to offend, not to upset anyone. You know, the whole thing, does my bum look big in this? No, darling, you look fabulous. You know, that's that. It's all along those kind of lines. Or if a friend or a colleague or whatever has cut their hair and says, what do you think? Depending on your relationship and how well you know them, you won't necessarily go, oh gosh, really doesn't suit you. You look much younger the way you had it before.
But ultimately, you won't trust that person. If you sense that person is lying to you, and they're lying to you about what you might regard as a trivial thing, in the circumstances where you were expecting them to be honest with you in a more serious sense, you might question whether or not they were lying then.
Oh, definitely.
And so it's kind of blown it, hasn't it, in terms of trust?
I think it depends if it's concurrent lies. If he lies constantly and you know he's lying, but you don't tell him or do whatever, but you know that he is constantly lying, you don't trust him. But he's making like little lies here and there. It's not something constant. Maybe you can trust him. I don't know.
I think being able to ask your partner or a really close friend, I was joking about does my bum look big in this statement, but if you are generally trying something on and you're not sure whether it looks good, you should be able to say, does this look okay? And my partner is really honest in a very kind way, obviously, and I really appreciate that. I know that he doesn't automatically go, oh, you look gorgeous, oh yeah, lovely, oh yeah, you look great. He says, yeah, it is nice, but I think the pink one looked better. And I know that he's being completely honest and giving me proper feedback, which is what I'm wanting when I'm actually saying, does this look all right? So, and I think that's really important to be able to do that.
Yeah, but you're also, probably what you're doing is you're checking because you're not sure.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Maybe that you have to communicate that I need your honest opinion.
Yes.
Don't try to be nice to me right now. I need your feedback.
Yeah.
Or something like that. I need your honest opinion.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if it's.
But then there are 1,000 different ways to give your honest opinion, aren't there?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You have to do it in a nice, kind way.
Why would you be cutting to your partner for no readily apparent reason? If you didn't like something they were wearing, you'd have to say so.
Yeah.
And it's not because it doesn't look good on them, it's just you don't like it. That may be because...
But I think some people would struggle with it because some people's reactions might not be good. I mean, depending on the relationship, the person might always want to be told they look nice.
Yeah.
And if they feel good in it and they think they look nice, and then the partner says, I'm not sure about that, they could be really offended. What do you mean? They're my favourite jeans.
You've got to feel the moment, haven't you? You've got to do it in the right place, right way, right timing.
Yes.
Timing is crucial.
Exactly. If they're walking out the door and you go, oh, I'm not sure about that.
But maybe what the scientists behind this particular piece of journalism are saying is that it's the lying that allows people to be relaxed about life a little bit more, and if you're always, constantly overcritical, then that probably isn't a sound way.
I think there's more about like the opposite, like being like totally honest all the time. It's also not good it's not good for anyone, I think, because if you are totally honest all the time with all the people, you may say things that come back to you like in trouble or what?
Absolutely.
Or putting people in trouble. Maybe someone make your confidence, tell you something, and some other. What these people say to me, and you are honest. Maybe you're causing a conflict.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
Maybe you have to learn. That's a social skill, as I said. Maybe you have to learn by experience, like getting caught lying, like. Getting through a lie and being successful lying, and also timing. It's a social skill, I think.
Definitely.
So being honest all the time, all day long with all the people, maybe you get in more trouble.
Definitely. You need to always be aware of the consequences of what you say,
the context,
whether it's a lie or telling the truth, and how it's going to affect the other person and your relationship and everything. There's a lot to consider.
Yeah.
Think before you speak. That's why it's the thing.
Don't lie habitually.
No.
Yes. We better take a break.
TRE. Hannah Murray on TRE in the afternoon.
Good afternoon. You are listening to Men Talk. With me in the studio today, Mark Wilkins, Steve Holmes and Luis Gonzalez. There's a message from Cookie who said, I do take my pillows with me on holiday, as well as tea bags, earplugs and eye mask. I take earplugs too, actually, definitely. She also says the Leela Palace Hotel in New Delhi has 10 different types of pillows you can choose from. That's amazing. But I wouldn't know what pillows to kind of say. If someone gave me like a menu of pillows, I wouldn't know what kind of pillow I liked.
What do you do when you go into IKEA and you buy pillows? Do you climb up onto the fitting and have a lie down and give it a test?
Well, you do. You can feel them, can't you? Give them a squeeze or something.
Plumping pillows.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know really. I don't think I'm that bothered.
I'm sure they don't use them all. Like they have them available for people if you ask, but I'm sure nobody asked for them. Not so many people.
I can't imagine.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't imagine people like.
I don't know how you would describe them. Yeah. Either how they would describe them or how I would describe the kind of pillow I wanted.
But do you not have a favourite pillow at home?
Well, I have my own pillows, yeah.
Right, but a particular one that you really like?
Why? We just have the same ones.
But would you describe it as hard or soft or?
I have my own pillow.
Yeah, I do too.
I have two. I have a pillow and he has a pillow.
Yeah, but
they're just our pillows.
I never had this trouble when I'm traveling. I never have the pillow. Usually, because I'm the time I get to the hotel or the house I'm staying, I'm crushed.
Yeah.
I'm really tired, so I don't care about pillows. Or anything.
Exactly.
So it's like I never have this trouble, like to choose the pillow. Or
I suppose mine would be thinner. You know, when you go to a hotel and they've got really big pillows that look fabulous, but yet you put your head on them, and then your neck is kind of at an angle because they're so big.
So you should take your own pillows.
So I need. You're convincing me now. Yeah. So I need a smaller one because I don't want my head to be at an angle on the pillow. I remember years ago I always had two pillows, so it was at more of an angle. But now I get rid of them, so I only have one, which I guess is quite thin, so it's not an angle. Yeah, maybe I should start taking my pillow.
Do you sleep well?
I do now. Yeah. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna start taking my pillow, maybe. So moving on from pillows to friendship. This is an article written by a man, interestingly, with the headline, "Why I Cut My Toxic Friend Out of My Life." But the friend he's talking about is a woman. He says they met at university. They were both studying medicine, because it's the Daily Mail doctor who's written the article. They were both studying medicine. They did everything together. They studied together. They socialised together, got on really, really well. Then they went their separate ways because she dropped out of medicine and she started drinking more and getting into drugs, and a totally different scene from him. So they didn't see each other that much, but he felt compelled to still meet up with her from time to time. And whenever they did, she was just kind of being critical of mutual friends, gossiping unpleasantly behind their back. And he was saying just the friendship wasn't bringing him any pleasure, any joy, but he didn't feel like he could stop being friends with her. He just felt the need to he couldn't cut her out of his life, basically. He felt strange about it. But then eventually it kind of phased out and he was really happy that had happened. And looking back, he kind of says, well, we were important parts of each other's lives for a time, and that's lovely. That's the thing to hold on to. And he just kind of realised and said, you know, people can change, situations can change, and it's perfectly okay and normal to not be friends or feel the need to be friends with people forever.
Exactly. Yeah,
I would agree. Especially if you're getting a bit older and you think, I really haven't got time for this. I don't need it. You know? Why am I bothering with this person anymore?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, it's so obvious though. She fancied him, and that when she dropped out with the drug and drink addiction and all the rest of it, and then she returned to his life when she's observing him in his new life as he's developed through the training that they were both on. You can see why she's bitter. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
That's
he's got the life that she.
Of course, you've got to. You can surround yourself by amusing acquaintances, but you've got to have a few friends. Yeah. And if your friends are toxic, then for your own mental health, I guess that means that you are going to be affected by them. And in the process of being affected by them, if it's negatively, you've got to get rid of that relationship because it doesn't work, it doesn't help you.
I think it's a matter of, as you said, it's perfectly, but I think it's also related to the time it's go by, because as you said, as you grow older, you have fewer and fewer friends or get in touch. That means, I think, is my hypothesis. That means that life happens to everybody, and you have different experience, and you cannot get in touch or close touch with everybody of your friends and your childhood or your high school or college or wherever. So at the point that you reunite after many, many years, you are different persons. A lot of things happens to that person, and a lot of things happens to your experience and different lives. So at the point they're meeting together again, there's maybe you are strangers again.
Yeah,
you have a lot of experience. And unless you have a close touch with someone, and times go by, life go by, is fewer and fewer friends.
Sometimes when you meet up with old friends, some old friends, you meet up and it's like you've never been apart.
Which is lovely.
Great. So it's a true friendship.
Yeah.
And you can move on and catch up again 10 years' time. But some people you catch up with after many years and you think, I don't know how this happened. I don't know why that we were ever friends.
Yeah.
You know, life's moved on.
Yeah. And that's fine too, isn't it?
Yeah.
But so often your friends in context is that your colleagues in a workplace, your kids at school, you're at uni together. And so you had that common experience together. When you remove yourself from that common experience, it's not unusual that people who you regarded as quite good friends, when you work with them, cease to be good friends, because that's what happens. Life evolves. And that's actually sometimes hard, because I read this thing today, was that this guy was talking about seeing these old people in the street, and suddenly he realized he was at school with them.
Wow.
And that's the point, really, is that you suddenly, after a particular time, look back, and the people who you were contemporaries with, maybe at school, is a good... I went to a school reunion for the first time in 40 years last year.
Okay.
And I hope not many of them are listening, but they were a bunch of old men. And it was kind of strange that we all had that common experience. We were there at the same time. We all had the similar sorts of memories of some of the things that happened whilst we were at school. But needless to say, their company was still good, but it wasn't what it was.
No.
Not surprisingly, because,
life affects people in different ways.
But in this particular case, it was because I didn't get quite the story. She was a drug addict, or
not necessarily an addict. She just got into a crowd of people, and the way she spent her time would be drinking a lot and doing drugs and things like that, which this guy didn't do.
That's something related to, because one member of my family got a problem with toxic substance and stuff, and in the moment he do rehabilitation, he went to a lot of specialists and do rehab for many years, and he told me that he realized that he has it from that time of his life. He has no friends. He has a consumer company, consumer people who consume with. He's like, it's not the same, because even if they really have as well his friends from that time, you realize that there's no true friendship there.
No, the common ground was that they were...
The common ground was the consume of the substance. So it's not real friendship. It's like...
I suppose also there's a new kind of friend now. There's a social media friend.
Yeah.
I'm not big on social media, so it's not something I know a lot about. But I guess getting rid of a social media friend, whether it's easy or hard, I wouldn't know.
There are people
new friends.
People who have friends on social media that they've never met.
Yeah.
I had this idea the other day, which at some point I'm going to send to Mark Zuckerberg, is that there are always people on your social media feeds that you're friends with, a group of people who they know or whatever, and you've never met them, but you've spent, I don't know, I've been on Facebook for a dozen years, Nelly, maybe more, is that you kind of know them in a context. And wouldn't it be interesting just to sit down at a dinner table with a dozen people that you didn't really know and find out whether in fact you liked them? Because they may well be a huge supporter of some of the things you've done, or just generally sort of been very positive, but that may not be the person they are. And I think it would be an interesting social experiment, if nothing else, to identify whether or not people genuinely... I've got this question mark for me quite a lot of times, because we're sitting behind screens or mobiles or whatever it is, that our reactions to people are perhaps not as honest as we'd sometimes like. And indeed, there are other people who react in a particular way who are brutally honest and rude as a result. And I find myself increasingly trying not to be rude to people. I'm a sort of reformed,
because it would be easy
rude person. Because it would be easy to, and that doesn't help anybody, because I genuinely don't think, and I think it's probably because we're able to hide behind screens that people feel comfortable about that process. I just it worries me slightly about society. And I take the point that there are these people who we have friendship groups with who we just don't know.
It's a very strange thing. We better take a break before we move on to Sam and his antics.
TRE, Talk Radio Europe.
Hannah Murray. TRE in the afternoon.
Good afternoon. You're listening to Men Talk with me in the studio today, Mark Wilkins, Steve Holmes and Luis Gonzalez. So the headline reads, Meet Sam, his fiancée Anna and his weekend girlfriend Megan. The surprising thing, their arrangement was Anna's idea. So from Fridays to Sundays, Sam, aged 33, lives with his girlfriend Megan, aged 27, in her 2-bedroom apartment in Hampshire. He cooks for her, his speciality is wild boar, and they take long walks in the forest or on the beach. But on Monday morning, Sam goes to live with his fiancée Anna, aged 26, in the 2-bedroom terrace home they bought together 3 years ago. He spends the rest of the week there, returning to Megan each weekend. But Sam isn't leading a secret double life. Not only is each woman aware of the other, but they positively encourage the unusual setup. Sam said, I simply found out that I can have feelings for more than one person at a time. You can absolutely love more than one person. If it works, why not? This is 2023 after all. As unconventional as this arrangement may sound, polyamory is rapidly gaining in popularity, with today's young adults in Generation Z more experimental than any generation before. Can you imagine?
Sam is... Was he Sam?
Sam, yeah.
Sam is 23 going on 35 and he's very tired.
Yeah.
Who does his washing?
No, so look, I don't know. At the moment you phrase it, the story, I thought to myself that it was like a couple and the child going with a separate couple, a divorced couple, and the child. So Sam is the guy.
Yeah.
And maybe he's a grown-up child. I don't know. And the two couples are turning it in weekends and weeks.
Sam has two partners.
It'd be a good question for Women's Talk, this one.
Yes, I'm saving it definitely.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So can you imagine this scenario? Would it make a difference if you were the guy or if the woman was the one with the two partners, if you were one of two? I mean, can you imagine it?
Yeah, the top of the question, you said, can you imagine this scenario? It's like, no. And we were talking earlier about trust, about honesty. Yeah. You know, and they've talked about it and they've arrived at a particular convenience of the way they choose their lives. And indeed, you know, Muslim families can have, is it 4 husbands or 4 wives? I mean, that's all.
4 wives, definitely not the other way around.
I'm sure that works. I'm sure that works for them, and I'm sure this works for this slightly curious couple. But I can't imagine being part of some sort of arrangement like that. Doesn't
I find it so odd. So odd.
Yeah, maybe it's old-fashioned thinking, but I don't imagine myself like. It's not like because having a relationship with 2 women is more difficult or not. Obviously, they talk about it, and obviously they are fine with it. But I cannot imagine myself to keep track to conversations with 2 different persons, intimacy with 2 different persons.
Exactly.
It's like I
living 2 lives, aren't you? Living 2 lives, and God, just imagine like Christmas and birthdays. How much would that cost you? You know?
It sounds to me like you cannot. It sounds to me like he doesn't want, or maybe she both
doesn't want to commit.
Doesn't want to trust enough the other person to give yourself to trust.
Yeah, you
show yourself vulnerable or something like that to other person, or get to that level to intimacy with one single person. Yeah, is the base for a healthy couple, I think. So having this share with the other person, share, because I don't believe they share this intimacy with both. So I don't imagine myself.
Sorry, does the same freedom apply to the ladies involved with this as well, or is it just the guy that's?
I don't know. I don't know whether the ladies want to do that themselves or whether they're happy in their arrangement. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a really odd one, isn't it? I mean, you'd assume that he's getting something, whatever that may be, from one that he's not getting from the other. Because if his relationship was fulfilled with his fiancée, why would he need or want a
Can you imagine the
as
conversation when you first came to do this subject? You know, who started? What did Sam say? You know?
Yeah. Well, apparently it was.
By the way, I'm thinking of going to live with my girlfriend at the weekend. Is that okay?
Well, no, the headline says it was Anna's idea. His fiancée suggested that he got a girlfriend, which is just bizarre. Why would she want that to happen?
At 23 years old, that, to my mind, sets a sort of interesting alarm, is that...
33, he was 33.
He's 33?
Yeah, 33.
Oh, okay. My point is that at 23, maybe dating two people at the same time is not unusual.
More normal,
More normal. They
33.
necessarily wouldn't know about each other.
Yeah. Well, exactly.
But
no, it's strange.
Something about this. I don't know if this applies to him exactly, but I heard about the each generation has more infantilized the age, so maybe 33 years old today is equals to 23 in the older generation. So
that's
maybe
true.
he has like an emotional age of 25, 26 or whatever. So
probably.
I don't know.
We're going with that, definitely. We've got one more ad break to take.
Talk Radio Europe. Hannah Murray, TRE in the afternoon.
Good afternoon. You're listening to Men Talk. With me in the studio today, Mark Wilkins, Steve Holmes and Luis Gonzalez. We've got 6 and a bit minutes left. There's an article here talking about marriage, and apparently people are getting married a lot less. It says here that almost no one is expected to marry in 40 years' time. 2021 was the first year on record that the number of children born to unmarried couples exceeded the number of children born to married couples. So marriage seems to be in decline. I wonder why.
Well, it's my 29th marriage date anniversary tomorrow.
29th marriage.
29th anniversary tomorrow.
Okay, right. Congratulations.
And I read a similar figure that in Spain, in 2022, I think it was, and I'm not sure it's necessarily connected with the pandemic, but the number of children born to unmarried couples was the highest it had ever been.
Okay.
So exactly the same figure. I think the truth is that a wedding is, by and large, yes, you can keep it very simple and go to the beach and exchange vows, and that's fine. I think it's the wedding industry that's behind all this. It turns something that's fundamentally private and very cute and intimate into something that's just a money-making exercise. And I think the problem is that people have kind of cottoned onto that and realised that they can have their celebration and
no celebration at all. Don't get married.
Well, that's exactly.
The problem,
but commitment's important, no?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But what is the? Sorry, because I don't know if I missed something, but I don't expect to get married or anything like that under my point of view. But because I don't see the advantage of getting married. Also, I know that the people I share my life with, I want to be with her and stay with her and be his couple and stuff. And maybe he can celebrate a reunion or whatever, but I don't see the point to be the big thing.
Well, that's what they're saying.
The big thing.
Okay, that's common.
But what they haven't said is whether civil partnerships have eaten into that statistic, because there are very many sound couple reasons why you would want to make some kind of declaration. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Also, in taxes, it's also if you get married, it's also worse for your tax. They tax differently if you are a married couple or not. I'm not sure.
I thought in Spain it was better.
I
think
if
so.
If you
and I think in the UK it's neutral because you're treated as an individual whether you're married or not.
Right.
But if you've got a pension, if you've got whether you're a same-sex couple or a straight couple, that you might want to benefit your partner by making some form of proper commitment to them, and that. I think marriage is just an expression. I think as soon as same-sex marriage, a lot of people were talking about the fact that it lost some kind of magic, some kind of drama. But it's forget the words. It's just about commitment, and that, to my mind, is something that you want to do. And I think if you don't do it, particularly maybe if you have kids, that in some way makes for a more obvious and some more solid family unit.
Yeah, I know the celebration per se, the celebration itself is I'm okay with it. I can celebrate with my family and her family and get together and celebrate that. But I don't see the point, as you said at the beginning, the making this big industry about it and expend a lot of money.
Well, you don't have to do that. You can get married in an office. You can just have a couple of friends and family. And
under my point of view, like, I don't see the point to make that big wedding.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
Like, I think the attitude that surrounds marriage is, you know, if it's like 40 years' time, nobody's going to get married. That's what the article says. But 40 years ago, or 45 years ago, to have children outside marriage, was frowned upon.
Yeah,
you know, and so it's a time change.
Yeah,
times are changing.
Absolutely.
Where, you know, people live together now and nobody bothers about it. People have children together and nobody bothers about it.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, 40 years ago, that was a different story.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think things are just changing, and I just think everybody's different. I find it hard to believe that in 40 years' time people won't get married. I think there'll always be a place for it, and some people will want to, some people won't, and maybe we'll see it happening less and less, but I don't think it'll go altogether. No way.
No, I don't see that.
I'd be very surprised. I really wanted to get married. I wanted to get married. I'm happy I got married. I look back and on a really fond, happy, lovely day with all my friends and family, and it was a really special day, and I'm really, really pleased I did it. And it did feel like it sort of cements your relationship. It's really hard to explain.
It's just different.
It feels different instead of them being your boyfriend. I mean, I felt weird saying the word boyfriend in my late 30s because I got married when I was 37. So I felt like having a boyfriend was something you did when you were young. Yeah. So I felt strange at 35 talking about my boyfriend. I started to say partner, but then I worried that people. Yeah. Then I thought maybe people might think I had a female partner because instead of saying the word boyfriend, so I didn't like not having a word, and it's much easier saying husband.
Yeah. That's a good enough reason.
It made me feel more comfortable. Yeah.
It was also strange. For a number of years I was a partner in a law firm, and the really strange thing is when you're introducing people that you've never met before, and here's one of my partners. That's one of the easy ways to do it.
Yes, exactly. Well, we're at the end of the show now. Guys, thank you so much for coming in today. Mark Wilkins, Steve Holmes and Luis Gonzalez. Enjoy the rest of the day, and Howard Brereton is coming up after the news with Spain Today. Enjoy your weekend, and Anna Glowinski will be standing in for me next week, so look after her. She'll look after you too. I'm off to Norway, so really looking forward to that. I'll tell you about it when I get back on Monday, the 9th.
You've been listening to a TRE production. If you've enjoyed this programme, there'll be another episode waiting for you next week, right here on this platform, where you can also access our extensive back catalogue of shows and interviews. For more information on our live programming, social media channels and apps, and how to contact Talk Radio Europe, please visit tre.radio.